It is the 1st of the 1st, 2024, which means new year, new opportunities, but same body. So what we want to talk about in this video today is stability. I find this is something forgotten about, something that is neglected, and certainly I have spent my fair share of neglecting this part of my training. Yet what I'm learning as a 35-year-old lifter who's been lifting for 15, 16 years is stability is the number one importance, but number one forgotten ingredient in any sort of transformation or strength training journey. I had a technique session with one of Australia's best powerlifters, but also best powerlifting coaches later last week, and it was expensive if you look at the monetary value, but if you look at the return on said event, extremely valuable. Now why? Because when you pay a professional who has years and decades worth of experience that they've seen with their two eyes, they can pick up on things extremely quickly, things that you would never see yourself because you don't know what to look for. When you're a professional, when you're an expert in your field, you can easily pick things up immediately. I'll try and zoom out so you can see my whole face. You can immediately see things that the untrained eye can't. So think of something that you're great at, and then think of someone who isn't great at that. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your kid, and think what you see when you see that versus what they would see. And so I had a technique session, went for about 90 minutes, and the number one thing that I am missing from my lifting up until then, that is a major focus for 2024 and beyond, is stability. Now, one of the quickest ways to get stability is with what they call bracing. So what bracing is being able to put, and I believe this is true, I'm certainly just going off my experience here, but being able to get everything in your core tight, so your spine is completely rigid, and therefore you can transfer the maximum load through your body. It's really interesting because I really didn't think deeply about sort of what strength training was, and it hasn't really clicked to me until more recently we've been looking into it. It's about moving the maximal load, and your body is just a conduit, or the body is a conduit for holding the barbell in a specific spot to be able to move maximal weights. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm not going to be the best to explain this because I'm not even going to try. You can look that up yourself and do some of your own research, because I'm not an expert in that area. What I do know is the more rigid and more stiff that you can make the distance between where the barbell is and where the power is coming from. For example, in a squat, the load is on your shoulders and the power is coming from your hips, and your glutes and your lower body. What you want to be doing is keeping maximal rigidness between those two objects. So what was happening with me was, over the time that I've been lifting, I'd gotten lazy. And lazy lifting is, as you start to increase the load, puts you at higher risk of injury. Because strength training is an extremely, if you do it right, with free weights, it's a risky activity to be able to do. You're literally putting on hundreds of kilos onto your body that could effectively crush you. And I have actually seen a guy snap his arm at a weightlifting competition before. So I had this technique session, and the number one thing that came out of it was bracing and staying tight. And if you think that you're tight, you can always get tighter. And so I would get in this position, into the squat, into the bench, into the deadlift, which is the three lifts that we were focusing on. And my coach was saying, get tighter, get tighter, get tighter. And no matter how tight I thought I was, he said, get tighter again. And interestingly, when I managed to get in the right position with everything stable and keeping everything ultra tight, the weight actually felt weightless. And it almost felt like the weight couldn't not come up in the bench press and the squat. And then the deadlift, it was the opposite because you're lifting it. So moving forward, a large part of my focus around lifting, and I'd encourage you, if you're also wanting to lift for life, really focus and get this element of stability. Do a session with a coach that you know. If you need a recommendation, you can reach out to me on Instagram, Hayden Wilson X. I know a ton of different strength coaches in all different cities of Australia, and even a lot in USA, although I'm not as well versed in specifics over there, although I ran a podcast for many years, specifically focusing on strength training. And have an expert eye look over your technique and point out all the flaws. Remember, it's just feedback. What you're getting from these sessions, what you're getting from someone is literally feedback. And the more direct, the more brutal, the more expert and to the point and precise they can be in their diagnosis of what you're currently doing, the better lifter that you're actually going to be. And therefore, the better lifter you're going to be, the longer that you can lift, and therefore you can lift for life. So stability, stability, stability. I do not have a results check-in because it is Christmas. So my last check-in was maybe 7 or 8 days ago, at least 7 because that was Christmas. So maybe it was, maybe it's been like 10 days now. And my next one is about maybe 8 days from now. Still being counting those calories, baby. Day 55 of staying within a calorie deficit. So I'd be interested to see, and also I should give a quick update over Christmas. So I managed to stay within the bounds of my calories. Although on Christmas Day, I had like this chocolate mousse treat and some trifle. And so I might have gone over a little bit, maybe 100, 150 calories over what I normally eat, still in a deficit. But ultimately, being on day 55, feeling good, feeling leaner, muscles are starting to pop a little bit more. Be interested to see what body fat percentage I am at this next check-in, which will be in 8 or 10 days time. Staying the course, staying the route, and hopefully, not even hopefully, it feels like it's destined to happen. I'm gonna focus now on finishing up this walk. I didn't really know, like, should I make a whole separate video on this or whatever, but 2 days ago, we welcomed the safe arrival of my son. So I'm now a father of 2. And I really want to start to integrate some of those principles and some of that content into my content, or some of those happenings on how to lift as a father, but sort of how to, and it's not going to turn into any sort of channel which is like how to dad, because I certainly don't think I'm an expert on that. I just do what I do, and if it works, then great, and I try and be the best dad that I can, but I'm certainly not a dadspert. But, which is a dad expert, by the way. But yeah, so anyway, back to it. Congratulations to me for the successful arrival of my son. I will see how that goes in terms of lifting. I was supposed to lift today. I think I might have to lift past 8:30 p.m. because I do want to get that workout in, but this is just part of the game. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm trying to learn and integrate into my life is if I do want to lift for life, obviously I know one day is not going to kill me, but I do want to try and keep up the routine of being able to continually lift and integrate strength training continuously, because last year, since February, I did manage to hit 3 workouts every single week for the entire year. and I want to be able to try and continue that. My word for last year was consistency. My word for this year is serve. That's what it is currently standing. I'm still playing with it, but that's where we're going to start. We're going to start at the word serve, serving my family, serving myself, serving my clients, serving you guys that are watching these videos, and really elevating my game of service in all aspects of my life into my life. Anyway, I am going to continue walking now. I wish you all the best for 2024. We'll talk again, no doubt. Looking forward to hearing what your goals are, what you plan to do with your workouts. Is this working? And what are you getting from these videos? More importantly, what do you want? I would love to hear more. Try and provide as many updates as I possibly can. Speak to you soon.